जिम वर्सेस योगा, व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन कि कौन सा बेटर है और किसको क्या करना चाहिए?
वो बोलेंगे हाँ यार थोड़े बहुत आसना करना है और उससे कुछ नहीं होता है, इट्स जस्ट फॉर
Among running and walking, which is a better form of cardio?
see first thing is that what separates running and walking. If there's one factor that separates it, it is
More than academics, I want the children to play sports because people think कि योगा में इंजरी नहीं होती है और जिम में इंजरी होती है.
अगर दोनों गलत किया तो दोनों में इंजरीज होती है. Sleep is the best form of recovery and almost
You think that the fast bowlers are the most injury prone people in cricket, right? Like Bumrah and all. Every series he plays. Bumrah plays one series and then one series he's rested.
but that's
What is the reason?
but that's now, right? I mean, he's the number of doped athletes that we get at the world stage. India's world number one.
Then why do the athletes take it?
But again, they take it because our
हेलो दोस्तों, आपका स्वागत है सेहत गुरु पॉडकास्ट में। आज हम बात करेंगे हेल्थ, फिटनेस और स्पोर्ट्स के बारे में। हम जानेंगे कि क्या 10,000 स्टेप्स चलना हमारे हेल्थ के लिए बहुत फायदेमंद है, क्या जिम जाना हर किसी के लिए जरूरी है और क्या प्रोटीन पाउडर सिर्फ जिम जाने वाले लोगों को लेना चाहिए या नहीं। तो इस टॉपिक पे बात करने के लिए हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर अमेया, जो कि इंडियन हॉकी टीम के डॉक्टर रह चुके हैं और उन्होंने इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस के साथ भी एज अ डॉक्टर काम किया हुआ है। वो इंडियन पैरालंपिक्स कंटिजेंट के भी टीम डॉक्टर रह चुके हैं एंड आईपीएल में वो राजस्थान रॉयल्स टीम के भी टीम डॉक्टर रह चुके हैं। So welcome Dr. Ameya to our podcast.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sandeep, and your entire team here. It's a very nice, beautiful place, very unlike of where I work. Delhi is very muddy and dusty. So looking forward for a good chat.
पहला क्वेश्चन जो मुझे पूछना था कि मेरे ऐप में हमेशा नोटिफिकेशन आता है कि 10,000 स्टेप्स चलो एंड एवरीवन इज क्रेजी अबाउट कि 10,000 स्टेप्स चलने से विल बी ऑलवेज फिट। तो व्हाट इज द ट्रूथ बिहाइंड 10,000 स्टेप्स? हाउ डज इट हेल्प एंड एक्चुअली डज इट हेल्प रियली इन लाइफ?
First of all, it's a very good and a common question. We must understand कि ये शुरुआत कैसे हुई. There was nothing like a tracker even like 10-15 years back. It is that movement is everything. So as and when we urbanized ourselves, cities में move करने लगे, and then in fact अपना movement day to day कम होता गया. Be it the remote or delivery apps. वो चलने का जो अपने जहन में पहले से था when evolution started, that suddenly dwindled.
सो रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है आज।
Requirement है, but why count it? Counting is just, we count it because it becomes a little more challenging. Like somebody is on the brink of 8,000, 8,500, they'll be like, yaar, chalo, let's walk another 1,000 steps rather. And वो एक habit अगर बनता है, तो it's obviously good. Anything, the body is meant to move. It is not meant to sit. Right? So anything that promotes it is fantastic. So similarly, when you walk, what happens? Your cardiorespiratory is activated. Breathing एक तरीके से normal होता है. Your arm and leg swing होता है. So there are, of course, definitely benefits to it. But just doing that and expecting magic to happen and not focusing on the recovery and the nutrition and maybe strength and training is not the best way. But again, the counter view is that कुछ तो अच्छा है. Like something is better than nothing.
So it can be a
right?
starting point for fitness. Right?
Absolutely.
किसी को आज फिटनेस कॉन्शियस बनना है, suddenly from a sedentary lifestyle someone wants to be fit, so they can start it as a first step to fitness.
First step, why only 10K? Start off with 7K first. Gradually increase the speed.
Build it up.
Then do it maybe even twice, thrice a week and then include some strength training, some flexibility exercises, some mobility. The whole fitness concept is not complicated.
Okay.
It's very simple. But people tend to like complicated things and then oversimplify it. So if the journey is there, great, nothing like it. I'm just here to promote health and fitness. Walking that many steps is definitely a good starting point. And also it is to be consistent about it, And of course, as I said, it's just not one factor. बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. नींद ठीक होना चाहिए, खाना पीना ठीक होना चाहिए. ऐसे नहीं कि अगर कुछ लोग हैं 10 या 12,000 चलेंगे हम, लेकिन डिनर करेंगे 10 बजे और तेल तला हुआ वगैरह सब खाएंगे एंड देन यू डोंट टेल कि हाँ मैंने 10,000 स्टेप्स चले और मैं फिट हो जाऊंगा. तो वैसा body doesn't work like that.
It's a full lifestyle.
It's a full lifestyle where 10,000 steps is just one part of it and it definitely helps.
Among running and walking, which is a better form of cardio, does it vary age to age or person to person, or it is universally better?
See, first thing is that what separates running and walking? If there's one factor that separates it, it is pace, right? You can walk at 3 kmph. Whereas running starts somewhere between 6, 7, 8. Like, of course, there's running, then there's walking, brisk walking, jogging, then come to sprinting. So the only thing is that everything you're moving forward and the pace varies. Now, for every activity that you do, like if थोड़ा सा अगर physics component add करेंगे उसमें, तो with every step you take, the faster you go, the perceived weight on your joints is little more.
Okay.
So in order to run, you need to train also. Because ultimately, who's bearing the load? It's the joints that is bearing the load. The transition to running is beautiful. It's very necessary. But again, you have to warm up at a certain pace, right? And then gradually proceed to increasing pace. So the better question I would ask is that whether you pacing is better or racing. So I would say pacing is much better. So both has its own pros and cons. It depends on the age group, depends on the type of body. Now, if an extremely overweight person and you ask them to run, I mean, the likelihood of fall is a lot higher. Similarly, an elderly person, you're telling them, यार वो एक step आप सिखाते नहीं हो उसको पहले एक 3 kmph 4 kmph और बोलो कि नहीं यार ट्रेडमिल पे हम 6 पे चलाएंगे उसको, they are bound to fall. That is foolishness, right? So each has its own benefit. कब किसको उसको implement करना है और कैसे implement करना है, that is a challenge. That's it. I mean, again, as I said, I stick to it. Basics is very simple, but people falter at the basics.
So do you think like we start like somebody who's unfit or who's not into a fitness thing, they start from walking, then brisk walking, jogging, and then running
Absolutely.
is the way to go rather than just starting randomly into a running where you can injure your joints and have
Absolutely.
injuries and muscle pain and everything.
Everything consistency over short-term games. You know, that's the mantra for everything and anything. You know, consistency and discipline. Yeah.
One more thing which is like a conventional thing in India is we have a traditional culture of yoga. So हम लोग सब योगा करते हैं and today also हम योगा promote करते हैं. But there is something is come in last 20-30 years की gym. So gym versus yoga, what is your opinion कि कौन सा better है और किसको क्या करना चाहिए?
See, that's a very nice way and a controversial way to put it, where you're pitting one against the other, whereas both has its own thing. And see, when you talk about yoga, in layman's term, yoga अगर किसी को बोलते हो आप, वो बोलेंगे हाँ यार थोड़े बहुत आसना करना है और उससे कुछ नहीं होता है. You know, it's just for to maintain flexibility and all that. But yoga includes a particular structure. It includes a particular position. जो मसल के मूवमेंट है उसमें भी it is challenged quite a bit. Most important, with every asana or with every structure, you have to breathe. So important in any kind of workout that you do. So even in a gym setting, it is not very different, just that you're replacing it that maybe with dumbbells and the reps and sets. So the language is changed a little bit. I'm not saying it's entirely the same thing, but I would personally like a mix of both. Like, you know, a good 3 दिन में हफ्ते में strength training session focusing on, say, upper body, lower body, and one day the whole body, a nice few reps. This I'm talking about the extremely layman gen population, not in elite sport at all. And also every alternate day, add a session of yoga and mix it up with a cardio session. So basically it's that you're hitting the multiple systems of the body. That's how the body functions well. So it's not developing only one system as such. And pitting it against ये अच्छा है या वो अच्छा है, I would say very diplomatic, दोनों अच्छे हैं. And दोनों को implement करना is more important. And more than how much are you doing it, it is how are you doing it. You know, that interests me more than anything else.
The message is that you have to be consistent with anything you do.
Yes.
Like outer view, what I understand is yoga will help you relax, stretch, flexibility.
Even strength train actually,
Okay.
but in a different format.
That's all.
You know, it's not just if you lift a 20 kilo dumbbell, you will become a certain type. And yoga will not. See, you have Surya Namaskars. You know, you have so many various names of asanas, which I think if I mispronounce it, I'll get a little backlash. So I will not go to that terrain. So in that respect, holding a posture for a certain thing, you do a Supta Vajrasan or a Vajrasan post-meal. So they have all its scientific backing. It's when you do it. And again, I repeat myself, वो कैसे करते हो आप?
Right posture, right guidance.
Absolutely.
And like building into it. Any form of exercise, the mistake which people make is they don't build into it. They just
Absolutely.
want to do it randomly. So
Yeah.
there is always injuries.
100%.
People think कि योगा में इंजरी नहीं होती है और जिम में इंजरी होती है. What's your perspective?
अगर दोनों गलत किया तो दोनों में इंजरीज होती है और दोनों सही किया तो दोनों आपके लिए बहुत आपके हित में होगा.
You should have guidance on both.
Absolutely.
Both the things.
Absolutely. And this respect is across age groups, across genders, across populations, I would say. Ki how well are you doing it? And if you have the right form and technique, loading becomes much, much more easy. The sad part is that, or it's that people focus only on how much they're lifting or how well they're doing this, how much time. So if you're doing it properly, even like, it's like work smart, basically, and not always hard.
So what do you think is the ideal time span? Let's say a normal person, office going 9 to 5 person.
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
40 minutes per day, period. Because after that, you start hitting a plateau. And anything less than that will not activate your energy systems as much.
And how many times in a week?
I would say 5 times a week.
5 times a week.
And
And
plus
recovery is also important.
100%. Nothing works better than recovery. There are many who spend hours in the gym and sleep for like 4 hours. Sleep is the best form of recovery, and almost 80 to 85% of recovery happens when you have sound sleep. Period. You see all the fancy gadgets available in the market. तुम कितना ही देख लो. Cryotherapy, ice baths, sports massage, deep tissue, soft tissue, I don't know how many more tissues people will discover right now. That contributes not more than 5 to 7% of a recovery. And why is that promoted? Because it is something exciting to watch. Abhi, if you tell somebody, even you take the biggest celebrity in the country and show a video of him or her sleep, kya hi maza hai usme, right? So it is not, they don't, again, it's so basic. 80-85% of your recovery happens जब आप अच्छे से सो पाते हो. Remaining 5, 7, 10% is your nutrition, which includes hydration, water, salt, electrolyte, and what you eat. And the remaining 3 to 5% is all these fancy modalities.
Which is not actually mandatory, right?
It becomes mandatory when the stakes get higher. That is in a professional space. Now, when you're representing the country, elite level pay, even that 1% difference matters. So if there's an athlete from another country doing that 1%, he automatically or she automatically has an edge.
Outperforms you.
Exactly. Elite athletes don't take even that 1% chance. So that's why they emphasize so much on sleep. But what happens is that जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. तो ले पॉपुलेशन वो देती है, अरे यार ये XYZ प्लेयर ये यूज कर रहा है, ये मशीन यूज कर रहा है, ये तो हम भी यूज करेंगे तो हमारा भी रिकवरी अच्छा होगा. No. It's that if you sleep for 8 hours a day, 7.5, 8 hours a day, and you're doing that, then it is going to help you. If you're doing only the modalities, I'm sorry to break this bubble, कोई फायदा नहीं है. उससे अच्छा मत करो. पैसे बचाओ और chill मारो.
So one more thing is, which is like a lot of people fear taking protein supplements, and there are a lot of people in newer generation who take protein supplements. The common understanding is सब लोग समझते हैं कि जो जिम जाते हैं वो प्रोटीन लेते हैं तो ठीक है. नॉर्मल लोग अगर प्रोटीन लेंगे तो उनकी किडनी खराब हो जाएगी या उनको हजम नहीं होएगा. तो ये डाउट सबके मन में रहता है. इज प्रोटीन सप्लीमेंट्स पाउडर्स, is it required for everyone to take or only the people who are into professional sports or gym?
First thing is that I'll try to break a myth here that what is gym? And वो हमारे जहन में डाल दिया है कि कोई भी जिम ले लो आप, in India or abroad, wherever it is, you'll have these bulky humans. Okay, and all these curves and cuts and all that. So basically that is not the purpose of the gym. So I have a 6-year-old also. You are a pediatrician, you know. Many people are like, oh, 6-year-old gym mein kya karega? I have a fitness center. I have a sports clinic. And I have a 6-year-old come and train out there. It's again what you do in the gym rather than just going to the gym and blanket. So now you talk to our elders or anybody for that matter. Agar gym ja rahe ho to automatically they expect a 6-pack. They expect bulk. They expect gains. But it is not the whole purpose of that for a gym. Now coming to the question precisely, first I've told about that myth. Secondly is that how much protein intake is required. Now why is protein required? Protein is the building block of the muscles. When you work out any physical activity, the muscle is broken down. When does the recovery happen? When you are resting. To aid that recovery, you need what? You need protein. Now how much protein you need? You need protein according to the community medicine textbooks and all the journals, all the respected, reputed journals worldwide, medical journals I'm talking about, not the influencer journals. You require 0.8 to 1 gram per kg body weight. So if there's an individual of 60 kilos, you need 60 grams of protein. Yes. Now if you're getting 60 grams of protein in your diet, fantastic. If you're not getting it, if it's a well-resourced, well-researched and all the FDA approved guidelines, protein powders got, why not?
So like
consume.
Whey proteins are there for vegetarians. So the whey proteins are a source of protein because they are more dense form of protein, right?
Yes.
Because I'm a vegetarian, I understand that you have to eat lot of food to get little bit protein from the vegetarian diet.
Yes.
So for a vegetarian, even if they are taking a good quality whey protein, it is not bad for them, right?
Again, what is your expectation out of that?
To just meet the daily requirement of protein so that...
Absolutely. So how is it different from carb or fats then?
Yeah.
How is it different from zinc, magnesium, calcium, vitamin D? It's the same thing, right? You are calculating RDA. That is the recommended daily allowance of every macro and micronutrient has been superbly well defined and it has a range, right? So why demonize only protein? Or why think that protein is magic? treat it like any other macro or a micronutrient. Just because it is related to muscle building, it has got a very famous name or a notorious name depending on who's listening.
Yes. People fear
People
because
fear, absolutely. So, I mean, anything in moderation and it is required for that particular individual in that particular activity. Now, I'll give an example. If you have a lay person who goes to the gym every day, 70-year-old in their 40s, a human being, you need 70 grams of protein. It's
70
as-
kg person.
70 kg person will need that much.
Mm.
If there is an elite power lifter, 25-year-old, lifting weights of 140 and above, Olympic level training, and he's in a weight category or she's in a weight category of 45, 48, 43 like that, they will need 1.5 grams of protein per kg body weight. तो थोड़ा सा इनका intake बढ़ेगा. Now expecting that 40-year-old who's lifting that much to take 2 grams of protein, that is absurd, right? One is not needed. And secondly, that is when the side effects kick in. You know? So these are the aspects. It's again, fitness is so simple. It needs to be so calculated that once you start making this a habit, it's no rocket science.
What the message goes is that if your protein requirement is there and you're taking it in a very measured quantity for meeting your daily requirements, then the whey protein is not a problem.
Not a problem at all.
But you should not make it something which you are drinking like excessive quantity, because then excessive protein load causes other problems.
Exactly, and that's what I told. Why are you taking it? Is to build your muscles, right? तो पहले muscle को तोड़ना भी तो जरूरी है. तो इसलिए पहले workout तो करो. उसके बाद so another myth which comes out is that अगर protein लेगा तो body बनेगी. You know, that is without working out.
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता.
ऐसा नहीं, बिल्कुल. So you have to do something. Similarly, अगर आप जाते हो कहीं, you're working, forget about working out, you're doing a physical day-to-day activities also. You feel hungry. Why do you feel hungry? Because the body requires that sugar levels for the blood and everything to function. Similarly, the muscle requires a certain kind of nutrition, and which happens to be protein, and that's the whole conversation.
So what do you think about this? बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि प्रोटीन पाउडर क्यों पीना है, हमारा नेचुरली सत्तू जो अवेलेबल है, that is also a good source of protein.
Please ले लो फिर यार. I mean, किसने मना किया है? You know, सत्तू ले लो, चने खाओ, good, this groundnuts are there, दाल्स है. But then again, coming back to that, you only made that comment, right? वो कितना खाना चाहिए फिर वो उतना मिलने के लिए. So that becomes a little bit of a
proportion size
again. But again, something is better than nothing. I go back to the same narrative. And anything in moderation for the lay population who are not professional athletes, best thing.
What is your opinion on strength training? क्या हर एक को strength training करना चाहिए? Muscle health, जैसे इंडिया में क्या है, people have big bellies and no muscle strength. And that I believe is because कि हमारा protein intake अच्छा नहीं होता. We don't have a lifestyle where we include exercise or workout as a part of routine. कोई लोग बहुत fancy है तो वो करते हैं, बाकी general population में उतना नहीं है. So what is your take on that?
See, I'll divide it into like in an urban setting. If you're talking about, yeah, you're right about some of the people having that typical apple-shaped and pear-shaped bodies जहाँ पे है. That is again got to do so much with our diet. How much we are eating, when we are eating, and then what we are eating. All the three things need to collide. And the best thing to do is that, obviously, coming back to the first question that you started off, strength training is important. Okay. Muscle can grow at any point in your life. Okay. And provided you give the right training, there's a nice, very easy saying, you use it or you lose it.
Okay.
Right? That applies to the muscle and the brain.
Yes.
So the more you use it, you'll grow it.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. So I think for all age groups, and this will be known in very subtle differences. For example, if God forbid there's a surgery, then the recovery, if it's going to take X amount of time, but a person who's been strength training regularly, that time will be divided into half almost. And we've seen amazing cases. The post-op recovery protocols are much better implemented. So you don't wait, even when you're ill or when you're sick, cough, cold ho gaya, we bed rest for some time. You'll see after a certain age group, the muscle loss gets very rapid. And you'll be like, yaar, sab kuch to theek tha. Because by rule, after 35-40, sarcopenia, that is muscle loss, it happens almost 0.5 to 1% per year, 8 to 10% per decade. That much of muscle loss is happening every decade after 40. Don't you think that's a lot? And then when our elders or grandparents or now our families, when they fall, hip dislocation is so common, then they have to go for THR. And imagine all the trauma. So people don't realize that it is not that one fall that has caused this.
Years of living
It's
without.
exactly the years of living without movement or without building the adequate muscle. And I'd say adequate. So when I talk about building muscle, the same age group tells, oh, the gym and we don't want to get those things. It's not about six packs. It's not about aesthetics at all. It has never been, unless if you're in that kind of industry. Yes, it's about well-being, and being well is very simple.
So what happens is सब लोग समझते हैं strength training मतलब डंबल उठाना जिम में जाते हैं.
Yeah.
So for a practical purpose for general population, what is the strength training mean?
Strength training, I mean, you can just do a push-up at home.
Okay.
You can do a squat. Squat is nothing but how you sit on a chair, but there is no chair. You can start off somewhere. You can do a lunge. You can do some skipping at home. I mean, it's not technically strength training, but then again, you're doing some form of physical activity. Even so, every step matters and every rep, every set matters. This people realize once they grow old. Because, see, I'll give you another example. When a sugar level goes down, what do? You feel a little giddy. Classic hypoglycemia, right? But when the protein level or the muscle level goes down, you don't have that instant effect. So it's not late until it's too late. So you're just one that fall away or that one ankle sprain away, then you're like in a cast or you have an ACL surgery, you're in a brace, and then 6 months down the line, your limb has become like a stick. And then you wonder, yaar, ye kya ho gaya? So that's happening for a very long time. And I think that needs to be taken care.
तो मुझे एक चीज पूछना था कि जो स्पोर्ट्स में इंजरी होती है, when people get injured again and again and they take painkillers or pain sprays, so is it the right approach to go through an injury, or do you think we have a better approach to recover from an injury, or for that matter prevent injury when you are playing sports at a little competitive level? Even some general population people also want to play a little bit at a competitive level, so what should they take in terms of injury prevention?
That's a very good question, because see, one problem that India is facing is like over-the-counter drugs are available. So in acute thing, obviously no one likes to be in pain, but not realizing that pain sometimes is good, because it tells you that, this is your limit and this is where you have to stop. Kuch to toota hai ya pata hai, So to relieve that, I mean, if they're taking it, if it's like very random or not frequent, then I'm like, please do it. But I would also say take it under a medical doctor supervision and not just keep popping them left, right and center, because they do just that. It's called painkillers because they alleviate pain, but it doesn't address the core issues of what exactly has gone wrong there. So to prevent that, that's what I promote either through my center, Krida Human Performance, which is there in Kalyan Nagar, or with the various teams that I'm attached with, is that see what is the training load going on. वो कितना effort डाल रहे उसमें. Like this I'm talking about physical effort. उनका loading कितना हो रहा है, कौन सा जॉइंट पे सबसे ज़्यादा लोडिंग हो रहा है, वो स्पोर्ट के हिसाब से कितना हो रहा है, बीट हॉकी, क्रिकेट, फुटबॉल और एथलेटिक्स, जंपर्स, रनर्स, थ्रोअर्स, जो भी है, तो उनका प्रोटोकॉल क्या रहा है इन द लीड अप टू दैट इवेंट. दैट मैटर्स सो मच मोर. एंड इफ दैट इज ऑल टेकन केयर, you're reducing the chances of getting injured. So I'm not saying that there'll be no injuries, because an athlete's life is plagued with injuries. A good athlete will have fewer injuries. It's not that they will not have injuries. You take the biggest name, even the great Tendulkar, had a 23-year-old career, but still he suffered with so many aches and pains and so many,
Tears one.
Exactly. So that came out of the news. That's why I'm taking this name. But you have so many of even our hockey boys come post-top and they're playing so well right now. But of course, the biomechanics, loading kitna hai, and then maybe looking at pain modalities, be it some kind of physical therapy or medication or whatever. So it's a very comprehensive and a combined approach, right from prevention, along with assessment, and then later on your rehabilitation.
So coming to Krida, so what I wanted to know is that when I came to you with my knee injury, so all of the audience, you should know that he has treated my knee injury and knee pain, and I have recovered fully. So
Are you running?
I am running. So what I want to ask is कि जैसे मेरे पास बहुत सारे बच्चे आते हैं, and in Bangalore we are lucky to have a culture where बच्चे भी खेलते हैं,
Yes.
competitive sports. But I do get all the medal winners, the children who are getting winning medals. After winning the medal, they come with some or the other pain and injuries, which the parents think has happened accidentally. But what I try to tell them कि देखो, it's a biomechanics, जो perform कर रहे हैं muscle actions और जो motion movement, इसकी वजह से ये injury हो रहा है, and you need a detailed perspective on this. Means you need a little analysis, and you need to understand the injury which is happening, why it is happening, how to correct it, and for that you need somebody to guide you in terms of that sports you are playing.
Correct.
So how do you do at Krida that thing?
See, one thing is that, एक तो वो बच्चे हैं, you work so much, you work only with kids rather. So, वो क्यों खेलते हैं? उनको मजा आता है उसमें. You know, they are not thinking about, you know, how my foot is landing, how my arm is going, nothing. That is just observation. That's where at a subconscious level so many activities. So it's easier to learn a very skill much earlier in life which will stick to them. Now back to fitness. Now आपने एक बहुत ही अच्छा point बोला, जब medal होता है उसके बाद, नाउ अभी मेडल जाने तक क्या होता है, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ अक्यूट लोडिंग हैपनिंग. अभी नाउ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रोफेशनल लैंग्वेज which may or may not be communicated to the children, but definitely should be communicated to the parent. Back to back they have matches, or back to back they have sessions, and वो इतना उनका all the cortisol levels and all are so high that they, you know, they get swayed in that sweat and adrenaline rush that they're getting of winning or whatever it is. Now once all that dies down, then you'll come with all these aches and pains. अच्छा हाँ, वो थोड़ा पैर मुड़ गया था, ये थोड़ा wrist injury हुआ था, यहाँ पे गिरे थे and all that. So in order to do that, obviously, again, it goes back to the simple basics. You train adequately, you sleep well, you eat well. I know it's easier said than done, especially with kids. But धीरे धीरे, and it's also a precedent that you set, either from the coaches or the parents. Now, if parents are only doing it in a certain way, or the coaches are implementing it in a certain way, automatically that kid will buy into it. You know, so it's just not, you know, मैं बोलूँगा आप ये करो, आप भी करो, और वो आपको देखेंगे तो वो भी करेंगे. So I think we need to set better examples like that. And in that way, when the children come to a center like Krida, who want to play their under 12, under 14, under 16, these age group matches, तो उनके लिए एक तो एक comprehensive assessment करते हैं हम लोग, be it the foot and ankle assessment, or their flexibility, their mobility. I know these terms look very fancy for
But the running analysis you did.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is just one of the analysis. We'll see the hip tilt कितना हो रहा है, front foot movement कितना हो रहा है, are you loading your joints more, या फिर आपके toes कितने land हो रहे हैं, is there too much deviation in it. See, these by on the outset of it, it's like यार Olympics में थोड़ी जाना है. You know, it's not about that. It's about day-to-day living and predicting the future injury outcome.
Yeah.
Even then we might be wrong. I'm saying it openly on camera, but at least we are reducing the chances of that happening.
But you are not wrong. See, the thing is, I am a pediatrician now. So we don't get every child with injury. What I see is, जो भी बच्चा अच्छा परफॉर्म करता है, मतलब मैंने देखा है कि इनवेरिएबली कहीं ना कहीं एक पेन हो रहा होता है. पेरेंट्स सोचते हैं कि गिर गया होगा, कुछ हो गया होगा, बट देन दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. बट द थिंग इज, जब आप एक पेरेंट हैं और बच्चे को किसी स्पोर्ट्स में डाले हैं ना, उस टाइम तो हमको ये सिंपल लगता है कि हमारा बच्चा ट्रेन कर रहा है, खेल रहा है. बट चूंकि एक रिपीटेटिव मूवमेंट, कोई भी स्किल जब एक कॉम्पिटिटिव लेवल पे जाती है तो बॉडी पे स्ट्रेस पड़ता है, और वो जो रिपीटेटिव मूवमेंट है या स्किल की वजह से बॉडी पे कहाँ कैसा इफेक्ट आ रहा है, दैट नीड्स टू बी लुक्ड एट इन अ मोर डीपर वे. उसको थोड़ा अच्छे से समझना है, एंड यू नीड गाइडेंस फ्रॉम स्पोर्ट्स मेडिसिन डॉक्टर ऑल्सो, एंड द कोच हु इज guiding them in that skill, and then only your child can continue to play that sports. Because after a certain point of time, if you don't support with these things, ultimately such injuries will happen which will prevent further progression in that effort. He cannot go more higher. He will actually be cut short by the injuries which will happen.
Absolutely. And we were speaking off camera also that, you know, sport has taught you so much. So the goal is not always to play for the country or play for Karnataka or somewhere there. It is to make sport a part of your life. It inculcates so much discipline in you. You know, whatever the other bad habits as such, you are moving away from it because you know to respect your body. You're taking care of it much better. तो उस हिसाब से अगर देखेंगे ना, तो you're just preparing a child to be fit for life. And that's the end goal, like what we talk about. So irrespective of the medals, or if you're going to competitive levels, great. But I see many, even our age people, like sounding a little old now, they talk about, you know, मेरे ज़माने में मैं ये हुआ करता था and all that. बोला अब क्या हुआ, अब कुछ नहीं हुआ. So that narrative is so common and it's so normalized, which I think we should break that. Like back then I used to play cricket for my school. Now I play cricket for fun. But play, no? So how do we get there? You need to train for it.
But I feel that sports, my personal experiences, it gives you happy hormones.
Absolutely.
Not only physical health, sports is also important for your mental health also.
100%.
And it gives you happy hormones and endorphins release. That is a scientific fact.
Yes.
The moment you play sports, you feel happy. Your body works in a certain way. You feel more liberated. And that is
physical activity.
So that is why I, as a pediatrician, have been a very good advocate for sports for kids. More than academics, I want the children to play sports, because I also feel that emotionally they are better, intellectually they are better, and they are becoming then learn the way of interacting with other people.
Yes.
Like something like a teamwork. That is very important to be successful in life nowadays.
And एक और थोड़ा और आगे जाएगा तो financially also they be much better.
अभी वो रिवर्स हो गया नहीं, हम बोलते थे ना, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनेगा नवाब और खेलोगे तो खराब हो गए, बट अभी वो उल्टा हो गया। अभी स्पोर्ट्स इज वन ऑफ द most earning thing in India. So Ameya, you have worked with the Indian hockey team as well as you are being the team doctor for Aston Royals in 2025 IPL. So what is the difference between a hockey athlete and a cricket athlete? Do you think they are superior? The hockey is superior or cricket is superior? Who is superior?
I think if I pick one, both the players will start to, come after me. But see, the thing is that every sport is unique. I know it's a very cliche answer, but hockey is a more fitness-based sport. So obviously the body type required to play hockey, to last those intense quarters, 4 quarters now it's become in hockey, is a lot more challenging than even to last like a T20 or a 50 over format or test cricket. I'm not saying that's easy because test cricket, you have a fast bowler going in 5th day for a 3rd session. He still has to come running in and bowl at 140.
It's pure endurance.
Lot of loading on your back. And
Endurance also, right?
exactly. So, but hockey also, you have to pick that speed up to 30, 34, 35 kmph. That is a bad speed to go at with the stick, trapping the ball and then hitting it. So then, if you have back-to-back consecutive matches in hockey, you're famished.
So which do you think is more injury prone? Cricket versus hockey?
See, in hockey, almost all the 10+1 players, leaving the goalkeeper aside, run almost the same distance. Be it the midfielder, forward, defenders, all they cover X amount of kilometers on an average in a match and at top speeds. But in cricket, it's that if a batsman, opening batsman is there who doesn't bowl, he gets out on a first ball duck. No, basically he's a spectator for the entire match, apart from obviously the fielding that he'll do. But a fast bowler, 10 overs, 4 overs, he has to come running in. For some exceedingly who are bowling at 140 plus. There's so much of loading happening on the lower back, the joints. And I mean, fast bowling in cricket is the most injury prone thing. Whereas in hockey, you have all the ACL because a lot of change of direction happening. And they are also prone for low back aches because they have to, bend. The taller the player, they have to bend,
Constant bending and running.
Constant bending and running. And it's not a very natural body movement that we do on a day-to-day basis. And you might have seen hockey has all the right-hand sticks only. So even if you're a lefty, you're still bending on your right-hand side. That's, I'm telling the finer nuances of how I look at sport right now and not just, who is won and gone hara. It's something like that. And coming to a fast ball, if you have a right arm fast, the left foot, the front foot that is, when you're steaming in and coming in, it takes the load of almost 6, 7, 8 times the whole body weight. That's like if you have a 80 kilo fast bowler, so 80 into 6, almost 480 or 500 kilos of body weight on that one poor ankle or that knee, And so that is the kind of workload. So when you hear all this talk about workload management and all that, I know sometimes they use it very loosely, the term, but actually there's a lot of science involved. And just by the sheer amount of games played in a year, that with the travel and all that, so the recovery and all gets too complex and too much to an extent. So both are quite fit, especially to play at this level in today's day and age. Maybe back in the day, I could have given you a clear-cut answer. But as of now, both are good. But if you just consider a few aspects of it, I think my hockey boys are a little more fit.
We'll see what audience has to say about it. Okay, so do you think that the fast bowlers are the most injury-prone people in cricket, right? Like Bumrah and all. Every series he plays, Bumrah plays one series and then one series he's rested.
But that's
what is the reason?
But that's now, right? I mean, he's obviously carried the load for so much time. And that you take any career of any fast bowler, it has been plagued with injuries a little more than a batsman or a spinner for that matter. And the reason I've already told you, that loading that happens. It's just that the whole biomechanics, it's a very unnatural biomechanic. By unnatural, I mean, you don't do that in your day-to-day life.
So body is not built that way to take that stress for so long time.
So long time, and it bowl that kind of pace.
And at a competitive level, it becomes even more
100%.
More stressful, right?
Absolutely.
So one more thing is कि हम लोग सुनते हैं कि athletes take steroids and it is banned. Then why do the athletes take it? What is your perspective on that?
See, one thing is that I'll go into sporting administration a little bit. It's a little unpopular opinion, but it's an open secret now. India is world number 1 in the number of doped athletes that we get at a world stage, which is honestly very embarrassing, and it's not something to be proud of. But again, they take it because our reward system is so skewed that the winner takes it all. Okay? जो जीतता है वो सिकंदर. Absolutely.
अच्छा.
So एथलीट के मन में भी वो है कि यार अगर ये नहीं मिला तो कुछ नहीं मेरा लाइफ. And the demarcation is very real because even till now, if you win something, you're assured a government job. cash reward or whatever. So these are the things which are very high motivation, and still in India, pushing people into sport at a competitive level, leaving everything, is still a very, very, what do you call, a nascent concept, you know. Willingly, like when you say rags to riches stories, right? ये तो कुछ भी नहीं था, गांव में कहीं भागता था, अभी देखो इंडिया के लिए खेल रहा है. Unfortunately, in our setting, that is a norm, you know. But whereas from a middle class family or a little upper middle class family, को अरे यार ये सब छोड़ के कहाँ तू खेल कूद में जाएगा, you know. So I mean, I'm not saying anything is right or wrong. It's just that we over reward the winners. Success.
Success is rewarded,
Yes.
and if
It
you are
is-
not achieved that success, I will not
Yeah.
say it's failure,
Yeah.
but if you are not,
Not
achieved the
achieved,
success, then you
it
are
is
overlooked.
Absolutely.
You are not actually
अभी
rewarded.
आप बता रहे हो 18 साल 19 साल का लड़का है, and he likes on sport, his education qualification not very great, and ये एक मेडल मिलेगा तो उसको गवर्नमेंट जॉब पक्का है. जो 20 साल 30 साल whatever it is सर्विसेज पक्का, तो उतना मंथली सैलरी मिलेगा. So I can imagine यार, for his family and this thing, he will do anything what it takes. I'm not saying all do it, but the chances to get that desperate is still there. And I think that's one of the reasons which pushes the athlete towards all these, shortcuts is I would say, not realizing and how bad the repercussions are, and it's unethical practice or something like that. And also, of course, the onus is on us also to keep educating the coaches and the support staff that, what is good, what is not good, and what is the whole anti-doping program, which is picking up pace.
आपने पैरा एथलीट्स के साथ भी काम किया ओलंपिक्स में. हाउ इज इट देयर लाइफ इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अ नॉर्मल एथलीट और अ पर्सन हु इज इन अ नॉर्मल स्पोर्ट्स?
Firstly, I will take objection towards the word normal. They are also my normal athletes.
Okay.
And secondly is that I have started my career with para athletes, and it's my domain. It's our domain to promote. It's just a space where, if you don't have a limb, if you're an amputee, spinal cord injury or something, sport gives them that hope to not just live, but also to excel. And that's the beauty of it. So more than the medical challenges, there's a lot of administrative challenges also that go on in para sport. And it's all about inclusivity and promoting sport irrespective. When I started the conversation, I spoke about irrespective about gender, caste, region and religion, whatever it is. But it's also with respect to do with some kind of physical disability. Because the only kind of disability is in the mind. And some of the para athletes that I work with, all of them are like truly inspirational. Although that's not their job to inspire people. Their job is just to excel in whatever they do, just like any other able-bodied.
Yes.
And everybody is normal in their own respective way.
Yes.
And I take huge pride in being the medical officer with the Paralympic contingent, more than any of my diverse roles that I have been fortunate to be a part of.
So the final question which I want to ask is कि एक 15 साल का बच्चा है and he wants to play sports, whether competitive or not, but he enjoys the sports and he wants to do, and he wants to be fit throughout the life. So what is your message for a 15-year-old child looking up to sports as a hobby, as a goal in the fitness? So what do you recommend?
Keep playing.
Okay.
That's it. Your question was 20 words. My answer is 2 words. Keep playing.
Okay.
It's simple. Focus on the game that you like, because that's what you enjoy. That's what you look forward to. Meeting your mates, going out, something like that. Then eat properly. Obviously, you have put in a lot of effort there, physical stress. Eat properly, sleep well.
So in eating, I think protein is the most important thing. which we
Everything
ignore.
is important.
Okay.
Everything is. Carb is important, fat is important, protein is important, magnesium is important, calcium, vitamin D. You take any macro and micronutrients. Each has its own important. So that 15-year-old boy, keep playing irrespective of what life has to throw. And more so all the MBBS students, because we come from a medical fraternity. We take pride in working 24 hours, 28 hours, 36 hours. I mean, trust me, it's not worth it sometimes. Is that I'm telling you from a very personal space. But yeah, please keep playing and keep training after a point of time, because the body is such a beautiful thing and we need to do everything in our capacity to respect it. And one such way to respect your own body is to invest in some kind of training.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर अमय, आपके सारे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यूज मुझे बहुत सही लगे एंड आई एम रियली हैप्पी दैट यू टोल्ड इट सो फ्रैंकली एंड एवरीवन शुड टेक इट एज अ message that fitness is not like option. We have to be fit so that we can live a happy life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me here, and wishing you all a very fit and healthy life. Jai Hind.
इस वीडियो में दी गई सारी जानकारी और सुझाव सामान्य स्वास्थ्य जानकारी हैं
और गेस्ट डॉक्टर द्वारा दिए गए सुझाव उनके निजी प्रोफेशनल ओपिनियन हैं.
किसी भी सुझाव का उपयोग करने से पहले अपने डॉक्टर की एडवाइस या सहमति जरूर